Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at the American Express Platinum Charge Card. Now, we've put this video together to explain this card because our review, which I've linked down below on the MoneyHub website, is comprehensive and we constantly keep it up to date, but there are things which sometimes just need a video explanation, some of the finer points and the pros and cons, etc. Now, I want to make the point up front that this is not a credit card by definition. It's a charge card, which means that if you don't pay the balance off per month, so normally you'll have a due date the following month, that is the same with this card. But if you don't pay it, then you'll be charged a 3% fee of the balance owing. So if you owe $10,000 on it and then you don't pay it in full, then it's going to be a $300 charge. That's different to a normal credit card where you'll be paying an annual interest rate. And then, of course, if it's like 20% and, you look, if you can't pay the balance off in 1 month, then you'll pay, 1 month of 20% kind of prorated. The point of this review is certainly not to encourage people who can't pay off credit cards to even consider this card or any other card, because credit card debt is absolutely terrible and not something that we at all suggest. It's just, that's the point I wanted to make around how it's not a credit card. It looks like one, it functions like one, but because of this charge aspect, then you are liable to pay the full balance and there's no interest on it. It's just that fee, which is quite high. Second to that, there's no limit on it either. So most credit cards will have a limit. Say it's going to be $1,000, $5,000 or $10,000, something like that. The charge card here has no limit. So while you will be protected if there's fraud on it and something like that, you're not, it's not unlimited liability there. The issue is with regards to what you spend on it, then as long as American Express thinks that you can repay it, then you'll keep being allowed to spend on it. That can be dangerous, but as I said, this card is not for everyone. So with those kind of warnings or kind of notes out of the way, I'm just going to go straight through it. What we've said up front, and I think this is really important in the guide, is that because of the high annual fee and the amount of perks and benefits it receives, many people think, yeah, this is great, let's just go for it. But then some people also think, wow, can I justify it? Can I really get the return on it? We think that if you are kind of hooming and hawing and sort of trying to do a cost benefit, it's probably not for you. And that's the reason. The reason is just because this card will appeal to people who don't hesitate with spending. Maybe they're doing work-related spending that they can charge back. Maybe they're like a business owner and then lots of costs get put on the card. That's really the situation with the card's most suitable user. And I'm not saying that generally, it's just that it's going to be people who spend a lot on credit cards normally, and with this card they'll pay an annual fee, which of course they can tax deduct if it's for work, and then get all the benefits which I'm about to go through. So I just wanted to make those points clear. It's not a card for everybody. We don't see a lot of activity on MoneyHub of people interested in the card just because it's got a very niche market. But those that do, they have asked us a few questions, and generally they have been happy with the card from what we've heard. If they've reported back to us with feedback, but it's certainly not a mass market product. Now, what do we think about the card? We think that the card is basically suitable for anyone who spends lots, and it's not going to be suitable for people who spend, say, less than $50,000 per year on a credit card. That's just an arbitrary number. That's not, if you spend $50,000 and $2, it's not going to be more suitable for you. It's just that's what we've said, and it's not going to be suitable for those people who don't travel overseas, and it's not going to be suitable for those who don't really like staying in hotels that are quite nice, etc., etc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the annual fee, and I'm going to go through the benefits, and then the pros and cons, and then our summary and some facts. So first up here, what is the annual fee? So the annual fee is $1,250, and that covers you for 12 months. That will be charged in the first month. So you will have to pay that in the second month, or the first month billing when that falls due. Second to that, there is a bonus offer. Now this can vary, depending on the time of year, but the 100,000 membership reward points seems to be the standard one for now. We've seen that in place for quite some time. Of course, Amex is, they have moved that up and down before, but that is something worth noting, that 100,000 reward points is actually the same as spending $50,000, because you earn 2 points for every dollar, which I'll get to in a second. And then, so this is the summary here. You're going to earn 2 points for every $1. What can you do with those? Well, we have a whole separate guide for that, but you can convert them to Qantas points, to Singapore Airlines points. You can redeem them for Amex Travel. You can convert them to convert them to AirPoints dollars. There's a lot of value to be had from those points, and this card is the highest earner of all cards from Amex for earning these membership reward points. Now, redeeming them, so I just kind of touched on that, there. So if you spend $100,000 on the card, then, in 1 year, then you're going to earn 200,000 membership reward points. What does that actually, mean? Well, there's a conversion, so you'll get 1,300 AirPoints dollars. Not that many, to be honest, compared to some cards from Amex, which actually earn AirPoints dollars at a much higher direct rate. But you'll also earn, if you don't convert them to AirPoints dollars, for example, 100,000 Qantas frequent flyer points, and that will get you, a one-way Auckland to Hong Kong business class flight, which is arguably probably worth $2,500. So there is a sweet spot there if you're gonna use the points for premium flights rather than standard AirPoints dollars conversions and things like that. You'll also got the option to use it for travel credit with Amex. That can be for flights, for hotels. It's like a travel agency, really. And then you can also get cashback credit, which is going to be $1,000 of credit on your card, which would, pay for some of the fee or any of your charges. And that's for 192,000 points. So it is complicated in the sense that, membership rewards isn't that common within New Zealand. But once you have a look through our guide and just have a look at the program in general, it's actually not that difficult to make sense of. And there's certainly some valuable benefits, especially if you like using the points to travel overseas. Now, if I just go into the next section here, what are the benefits? So as I previously discussed, you'll get this 100,000 membership rewards bonus points. So that means that you can convert those any way you want. And it's just basically a sign-up bonus. So that's the only time you'll get that. You won't get it in the following year if you do renew the card. But it's worth knowing that that is going to be issued to you with the qualifying spend of $1,500 in the first 3 months, but that's not including your card fee. So you do have to spend $1,500 on purchases. The other benefit that's kind of useful for anyone traveling is going to be the hotel benefits. Usually, so there's actually quite a few of them, but within this, I'll explain them because they are separate but kind of related. The first one is you'll get access to the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts. And what that means is that you can go to the Amex website, you can search for hotels, and if you book them, you'll usually pay a higher rate than, say, booking.com or, hotels.com, or even going to the hotel directly. But what you will get is you get a US $100 food and beverage credit, and you'll also get a room upgrade. You'll get a noon check-in, a late checkout sometimes as well, daily breakfast for 2, free Wi-Fi if that's not already on offer. So some people like that. There's certainly a lot of hotels in Australia that offer or that partner with Amex for this. And it just means that you may pay a small premium on the standard booking.com rate, but then you get all the comfortable benefits with that. And, we haven't done any side-by-side comparison on that just because it's going to be for people to, do themselves on, whatever hotel they want to stay at. But, research that I'm not going to publish showed that, the rates weren't too different between the hotel aggregators and what Amex is offering. Further to that, this is where things get kind of interesting. They also offer for the Amex Platinum Card members for memberships in hotel programs. So usually with hotel programs, you have to stay, 20 nights a year, 25 nights a year, even 30 nights a year, spend enough money to get to these gold statuses. And that means usually you'll get like a welcome drink voucher, you'll get a late checkout, you'll get more points, from some more points with the program, the hotel program and things like that. And just general like room upgrades, sort of early check-in, late checkout, things like, sort of beneficial things that you would expect if you're a loyal customer to the hotel. The thing is that you don't actually have to be a loyal customer. You just get these things automatically, which is incredibly generous, but they are, I believe, trying to entice their Platinum Card members, Platinum Card members, to stay at these hotel brands. So Hilton, there's a few of those throughout New Zealand. Marriott, not so common. Radisson, also not so common. The Accor group, that runs slightly different in that you actually get a membership with Accor Plus, and with that you'll get a free hotel night for one stay, and you also get with that Accor Silver. So Accor Plus, we have a separate guide to that actually, and that's a paid program. But with the Amex Platinum charge card, you actually get your membership for free. That renews every year. You'll get your free night's accommodation every year as well. You can use that at Sofotels. You can use that at like Novotels, anywhere that there's availability. So that's worth being aware of as well. So there are some benefits beyond just memberships. You do get some freebies, and certainly the Accor Plus is one of them there. So we've explained some sort of finer details around that. You can have a look. The airport lounge benefit. This is something which is also offered as a freebie with the charge card. Some people, of course, have like Air New Zealand Gold, Air New Zealand Gold Elite, Qantas Gold, Qantas Platinum, things like that, Lifetime Qantas, or, whatever. This is not going to be those lounges. This is going to be all of the partner lounges and third-party lounges, plus the Amex lounges. So the Amex has a whole bunch of lounges around the world, some of them called Centurion, some of them just called American Express lounges. You're able to access those unlimited, and it's usually one guest or two guests. It depends on the Amex lounge. And for the third-party lounge, it's going to be usually one guest. You can, of course, if you are flying with Qantas or in New Zealand, you fly in business class, or you've got a membership, or a Qantas membership, or a Coro Club membership, or something like that, you can still use like your existing Air New Zealand or Qantas lounge there, but you do have the benefit as well of using these third-party lounges. So that is worth something. So that's worth knowing. A lot of people don't use this unless, they can't get into any other lounge. The lounges aren't generally as high-end as, say, Qantas First in Sydney, Qantas First in Melbourne, etc., or even the Air New Zealand lounge in Auckland International, or any of the Australian ones. But it's certainly a benefit if you are flying, within Europe and low-cost airlines or anything like that. And then, there's lounges in, hundreds of airports around. So that is something just to be aware of. It that will renew every year, and it just comes with, the card as a standard feature. Now, more benefits include the $200 to spend on travel. So that just goes straight to American Express travel, which you can choose to spend whatever you want on: car hire, hotel, airfares, and that renews every year as well. Plus, there's 2 times $150 dining credits. So what happens here is that if you go out to any of the participating restaurants, there's the Craggy Range restaurant, there's the Jervis Steakhouse. So these are all New Zealand-based restaurants, most of them in Auckland, some in Queenstown, some in Wellington. Then what happens here is that if you spend more than $150 in one bill, then you'll get $150 credited to your statement. So that happens every 6 months, and it doesn't roll over, so you don't get 9 credits or 10 credits, or actually any more than 1 credit. 2 credits. But that is something that some members have shared their appreciation of, and it's pretty much just to drive business to upmarket restaurants and like reward card holders for using them. So that is a benefit which is worth knowing about. And then moving on to this, we've got the complimentary travel insurance. So this is very valuable if you are traveling a lot, and all you need to do is actually pay for your travel, your hotel, your flight, or whatever with the card. And then you're going to be eligible for a whole bunch of benefits. So there's, a personal liability cover, there's a baggage money cover like that, there's medical, there's disruption, there's all things like that. So you do get this AMEX sort of round-the-clock protection, and that is, that saves you the hassle of going out and getting, custom single-use policies from third-party insurers. The Platinum card really does kind of power up the travel benefits there, and travel insurance is one of those ones which can actually save you quite a bit of money, because it's not travel insurance policies don't seem to be very good value within New Zealand for travel overseas. You also get other benefits, complimentary smartphone screen insurance. So if you paid for your phone with the card, or you get the plan and pay that with the card, then you'll be able to make up to 2 claims per 12 months with a maximum cover of $500. Should you smash a screen or drop it or anything like that, it just needs a new screen through a non-functioning, then that's also covered. And then there will be for that like a 10% part payment, but that does save quite a lot. So if your bill is $300 and there's a part payment of 10%, then you'll pay the first $30, and then the AMEX card will pick up the rest. And there's also a complimentary purchase protection cover. Should something happen accidentally to something that you've purchased with the card, then you'll be able to get your money back on it, or some sort of replacement. But of course, that doesn't mean that you can be irresponsible with it. So you can't leave things unattended. You can't do theft. Like the things can't be stolen. If they're in a vehicle or something like that, there are actually some quite distinctive limitations. So be aware of that, so that you don't make a claim when, should something untoward happen. And then lastly, this isn't really so much a benefit, just more of a, FYI, the chargebacks are very straightforward with AMEX. So should you be in a dispute with a merchant that you can't really get anywhere on, then chargebacks are much easier it's much easier to deal with American Express versus dealing with your bank, which then has to contact a Visa or MasterCard, which then goes back to the bank, which then goes back to you, and it's quite a long process. So that's worth knowing there. Pros and cons, I just want to explain exactly how this card, works, and what, why it's popular with certain people. First of all, if you spend big, then you're going to get lots of rewards. So the 2 membership reward per dollar spent, that is very beneficial if you're going to take lots of redemptions, or some redemptions, for first and business class flights from Auckland to Europe. That's where the sweet spot seems to be. And certainly with the cost of these airfares in cash very high, then you can earn up, to however many points you need by spending, and then convert them into the program of your choice. Singapore Airlines, from our research, does show more value than Qantas or Cathay Pacific. And then, take the flights, and while you won't, earn new points for those in any capacity, you'll be able to fly for free, which is also very beneficial, and one of the strong pulls of this card. We believe that the perks and the benefits of this card are unrivaled, but you do have to remember that the fee is $1,250 per year. So if you are paying that, you would expect something more than just a card that gives you some points if you spend money. So basically, you're buying in to a whole bunch of memberships that you otherwise would have to spend a lot more money trying to get. And, this gives you flexibility for travel with all the hotel chain perks, plus the Amex Travel Center to help you with anything that you need as well. There's unlimited Centurion lounge access. That is quite attractive because that's a very high-end lounge. It is different to the normal Priority Pass kind of third-party airport lounges, and those networks are certainly growing, so there will be more opportunities to use them. Customer service, people were very positive around, dealing with Amex. It's not going to be the same for everyone, but they do pride themselves on that, and that has been a focus. Then there's also favorable customer disputes terms. We've learned that from our chargeback research and a whole bunch of discussions that, they really do look after their customers more so than arguably in what we've heard from banks where something goes wrong and it's not so straightforward as actually to what the resolution will be. Now, that's a very general statement, but there is some sort of merit in, if you, do get into a situation with a non-Amex card, then often you're not put first, which is an ongoing issue and something that, we're all too well aware of. Now, the cons, we think the fee is certainly high. It is. Whether or not that's good value or not for you, that's going to come down to your lifestyle, your budget, all things like that. But it's certainly a high-end card. And a number of non-chain retailers, of course, won't accept American Express. So that is a limitation that you'll, need to know about. Because whilst you can use it at petrol stations, you'll use it at various supermarkets and hotels and things like you book flights with them and, large chain stores. There is also limitations there. So you will need to have a backup card. That's just part of the parcel, and that's because it's not 100%. It's universally accepted throughout New Zealand or around the world. But the Amex team, from what we understand, is desperately trying to add more, merchants week after week, and they seem to have a good track record with doing that. So that, and then finally, it's not a credit card; it's a charge card. So you'll be liable for that 3.25% fee on the closing balance. So be very careful that that never happens. And, as I said at the start, if you are someone who would struggle to pay off a credit card, this is definitely not the card for you. It's just too it's too high a risk financially. So just in summary here, our view is that we think there's a lot to like. It certainly is going to benefit people who have the money to spend, and they like to get the benefits that they get. But of course, it's not going to be for anyone who wouldn't spend enough to justify the fee, nor wouldn't use the benefits. And whilst there are some acceptance limitations, we have explained the fact that you might need a backup card. And certainly, some areas of New Zealand and some industries accept the Amex card far more widely than others. With regards to how to use the points, we believe that Singapore Airlines business class flights offer the best value. You need less membership reward points from Amex to convert to Singapore Airlines. The availability is quite strong. Of course, you do need to book quite well, far in advance. But, there are some benefits from the program beyond the Amex travel or anything like that. And we think that the Singapore Airlines program is probably going to appeal to most people who want to travel to Europe and Asia, and travel for free. So finally, just to explain some must-know facts, there's a foreign currency commission for non-New Zealand dollars. That's 2.5%. And it's worth knowing that, that is quite high compared to some credit cards, which are about 1.75%, sometimes 1.3%. But if you're making a lot of your purchases within New Zealand, then it's not going to be an issue. It only matters if you go and use it overseas. And we've also made some further comments around the lounges, and that's worth having a read of just just with regards to, what lounges you'll be actually getting, and, what you'll benefit from, like, around the world with the other perks. So thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, please let us know in the comments, because we are highly responsive to those. And it definitely helps us to constantly improve our guides. So we like feedback from anyone. If you have any questions, any comments, we will certainly respond to them. You can also send us an email and to the MoneyHub website. We're very responsive on those too. So we look forward to hearing from you, and thanks very much for watching this video.